So Izzie, thanks for joining on the pod.
You're welcome.
So do you want to start a little bit about what you currently do?
I'm currently in ITSM sales, so I'm an account executive, so kind of handle the discovery of potential clients, opportunities, all the way through to the sale. I also do a bit of pre-sales consultancy, so proof of concepts, any technical workshops or sessions, I'll also jump in and do as well.
And how kind of does that come about? Is it like a kind of even split, or is it just like allocated as the work comes along?
Yeah, it's allocated as it comes in. So the bigger clients tend to want proof of concept. So if they are moving over, they need to know that the system works as it currently does or better. So it sometimes there's loads of them, other times it's a bit more quiet. But the technical support sessions just come with most of the opportunities. But it is quite a big part of sales, so you do need to have that kind of technical knowledge.
Nice. And so some potential applicants will be watching this. What would you say you kind of enjoy most about working in sales?
I quite like that you handle it from start to finish, essentially. So you will nurture the opportunity from the get-go, and then you're the one that normally pushes it over the line. And every opportunity is slightly different. They're all coming from similar systems, so you know some of the background, but they'll all have different requirements, and you'll engage with lots of different people. So the first calls might start with one or two people, and then they open it up to potentially broader teams. So you're talking to lots of different people, engaging with different people every day, and it helps you understand not only like Halo more, but the industry itself. So you understand more pain points from other systems, and you can actually see how Halo is a better system. You can see where they're coming from and how we can improve it.
Halo is a better system. That's good.
Bye, Halo.
So, is that, I think from what I've kind of seen, from what I kind of understand online, that in other tech sales jobs is kind of split up into discovery, and then like I guess the kind of selling and stuff like that. So that's quite different from other sales opportunities.
Yeah, a lot of companies have a dedicated SDR role, which is essentially what we count as the discovery or the cold calling or lead chasing. We don't have dedicated roles for that. We all do every part of the discovery, the engagement, the demo, and the actual sales. So we don't have specific roles for what we would consider an unrewarding job role. So you don't just have people sending emails all day. You kind of do it from start to finish, and it's split across everyone.
Yeah, that's really nice because I feel like those people, yeah, they have to like grind for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years and do that, and then they can move on to the next bit.
Yeah, we have our most experienced salespeople doing the leads, the smaller leads as well, and assigning those out and engaging initially as well. So everyone splits it across evenly. There's not a hierarchy. We're quite even team-wise.
Nice. And so you didn't always work in sales?
No, I came from consultancy. So when I first joined, I went straight from a graduate into consultancy, ITSM. Actually, that's not true. I went into PSA initially.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't think I lasted long there. I think I did about a month. And then switched over to ITSM.
What didn't you like about it? Or is it just like
I don't know.
moving people around, making sure he had an even split?
I think we just didn't have that many people then. So I was more plugging a gap.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't know, or I wasn't very good at, I think I wasn't very good at PSA.
I'm sure that's not true.
And Joe at the time, Joe Waits, shout out, was training me. He probably quite quickly realised that I wasn't going to make it. So yeah, I went to ITSM. And since then, I did that for about 2-3 years. And then, yeah, just wanted to change.
Yeah. And that's quite common, and I guess works really well because then our sales team have like such a good in-depth knowledge that they can show anything as is.
Yeah, that again, I guess that's another difference. We wouldn't necessarily have someone hired or someone to come in directly for sales. So even a graduate that comes in, we now would typically want them to go through 6 months to a year of consultancy to then come into sales. So where most people would think you can just go straight into sales, it's emails, it's like chasing people basically. We're not going to have anyone in sales that doesn't have that technical background or hasn't been a consultant. So it helps with the whole process because, like I said, we take it from the lead initially coming in to the full to the sale. So if we can carry out that whole process and you can get on a call with people that don't necessarily expect you to know the product inside out and know the background of it, then it just helps. It makes us look like we know what we're doing, which we do, but it just helps. Yeah. But it also helps on demos as well. If they say, can it do this? 9 times out of 10, we can probably, depending on what it is, I'm not going to build a whole workflow, but we can say, yes, we can do this. And from experience, I've done it this way in the past. And it just gives us a bit of edge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that kind of differentiates us from like a lot of other competitors and businesses in general, just other.
Yeah, they'd normally, like you said, hire an SDR specifically just for sales. And then if they needed, I guess, technical assistance or something like that, that would go to someone completely different. Whereas everyone in our sales team has had that experience in consultancy or a period of time in a technical position in the company.
Nice. So kind of going back to why you joined Halo, maybe we can start with where you found it. Because obviously now there's loads of, we're pretty much everywhere. We're on Ipswich, there's loads of ad campaigns and stuff like that. How did you find it? Because this was 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was going to be really offended if you said something like 10.
No.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie, I did not look very hard.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right thing to say.
Well, 4 years ago is quite
Okay, yeah,
quite different.
yeah.
It was a different place, but it was still Halo back then. It's not Net Help Desk or nothing like that.
No. So when I came out of uni, I live in Suffolk, so grew up around Suffolk. Went to uni in Exeter, so came back home, intended to find something just to get myself going. And then saw Halo. It was actually the first and only thing I applied for. So yeah, that
wow.
worked.
100% success rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw graduate program, and I saw at the time, it's not this way anymore, but at the time, it was a rotation of the departments. Because it was way smaller then. I think I was in the 40s in terms of employees. So it was smaller teams that you just would rotate around to get experience. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I saw that and I thought, this is kind of ideal for me. I can do sales, I can do consultancy, and I can work out what I want to do. And it helped that it was close to home as well. So I didn't need to move out and so on. But yeah, I got here and I've clearly never left. So yeah.
But how did you, so obviously one of the themes we're talking about, because it's approaching, is Women in Tech Week. And so what were your thoughts about applying to a graduate scheme that was in tech when your background is sociology?
Yeah, so my degree was sociology. It was a BSc, so it was a lot of theories, but it was more rooted in the data behind it. So
Statistics?
yeah, most of my modules were like statistical analysis, or you'd use a software to, I don't know, conclude. I learned a lot at uni.
Distant memory.
So yeah, it was more about the data of people rather than like the theories of people. I mean, you'd use it to tie it in, but yeah. So I did a lot of data analysis, I guess, at uni, and I knew I wanted to carry that through, and I knew that you could apply some aspects of that from the job description to Halo. So I was a bit apprehensive. I did know it was a software company, but I thought, okay, well, I've got a bit of background in, I might as well try. But when I got here, there weren't as many girls as there are now. So I think there were a handful of us, which was a bit daunting. I was like, oh gosh, do I actually know what I'm doing? But the environment itself was that everyone was on the same page and everyone's kind of starting at the same level, because we only hire graduates. So it's not like you're coming in and somebody's hired a month later or at the same time as you that's had a year experience. So it was scary, but
Yeah. Did you imagine that you would be working, or you said you had no idea, but did you have any idea of what like industry you thought you might be working in? Because obviously if you do data analysis, it could be any industry really.
yeah, I mean, I didn't even want to do data analysis. I wanted to work in sport, so
Okay.
but I kind of then wanted to do data analysis in sport. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone really knows what they wanted to do. Did you?
I think that is quite a common thing at Halo, that most people kind of join because you're not applying for a specific job. So
Yeah.
most people think, oh, great, I have no idea what I want to do. And I would say most people aren't necessarily, when they start, like, I love software, like enterprise software.
Yeah, the appeal is it's a graduate program rather than an individual dedicated role, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like really good for people who aren't sure, but I'm sure there are people out there who are like, I want to do this thing. And
yeah, 100%.
Probably won't end up at Halo because it's probably not enterprise or IT software.
Yeah, no, I didn't. There's no way out of uni I thought I'd be working in a software company for 4 years.
Nice.
Just didn't see it coming.
Well, I thought we'd bring in one of the stats we have.
Oh.
So according to Nina off camera sent us some stats. PwC research found only 27% of female students said they would consider a career in tech, compared with 62% of male students. So that's, I guess, double.
Yeah.
And even more striking, only 3% of women say a tech career is their first choice.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
No. What do you think is off-putting?
The dominance of men in the industry.
Mm.
Like, you see it every day. Even it's way better than it used to be, but even let's say I were to jump on a call when I was doing consultancy or even in bigger demos, the room is predominantly male, or you're jumping on a call and again, it's over half are going to be male on the call. So you do see it, just like I see it daily still. And again, it is way better than it used to be, but it is quite intimidating when you're jumping on a call and there's either a boardroom of men that are probably old enough to be my dad. Can I say that?
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, especially in bigger organisations. It tends to be,
that have clearly been in the industry a lot longer than me and probably see me turn my little camera on and they're like, why is this child here? So it is quite intimidating, and I don't think it helps that the numbers are a bit outweighed.
So from that, there are a few different factors at play. There's the fact that most of the people here are very young, the fact that they have like less industry experience than most of the people they're talking to. And on top of that, obviously, you have the fact that you're a woman. Yeah, so I was just going to say, how do you find those together?
No, I think they all conflate, and it's hard to know which is the most prevalent, I guess. But when you join the calls one-on-one and it's your first role there, it's maybe your first couple of calls, you're inexperienced. Because it's a graduate role, you don't necessarily have experience in the industry. So you've got that paired with the fact that you're talking to someone very experienced. And then there's also the fact that they are the opposite gender. So I then personally got quite stressed, got a bit anxious. And then you start to question yourself a bit, I think. Well, that's my experience. I knew what I was talking about towards the end, but it's then when someone questions you and you're like, oh, am I? I feel like we would question ourselves more than if another man was challenged. They'd be like, no, yeah, I'm right. I know what I've said. Whereas I'd be like, oh gosh, is that right? Because there's someone I would see as more dominant than me.
Because women do, on average, have more of a tendency to question themselves. And I think it is quite difficult when you're in that kind of situation, because it's not only feeling the kind of, I guess, imposter syndrome, but obviously then knowing how to react to it.
Yeah, because especially at the start, if you back yourself and you are wrong, I think that makes you then a bit more reluctant to be as confident next time, because at the start, when there wasn't many people, it was very much a, right, we're gonna throw you in at the deep end, you're either gonna sink or swim. And most people, or everyone really, excelled, and it worked in their favor, which is why we've got so many good people, because you had to just get on with it. You're not kind of coddled through the process. So in a way, you kind of have to go through the bits where you do get it wrong and you say the wrong thing, and you literally just have to brush it off, jump on the next call, and just back yourself even if you're wrong.
So that's your kind of, in specifically the Halo experience,
Yeah.
it's just like trying to just be confident about it, even when you don't.
Yeah, because I think people can tell, or people will pick up on if you're second guessing yourself. But we are also quite transparent at Halo. I think if we don't know the answer to something, we won't pretend to know.
Yeah, that's true.
But it does just come with confidence. And when you're walking into an industry that's already a bit out of your comfort zone in terms of you've not done it before, yeah, when it's that added with the fact that it's quite dominated by the opposite gender and they're more likely to be significantly older than you, it is quite hard. But like nowadays, I will die on a hill. If I think I'm right, I will not back down. And that's probably a strength and a weakness, but you do gain the confidence, and now I know what I'm doing, and I think I know Halo inside out. It's less of an issue.
Do you think that kind of, you feel like you've kind of grown? I mean, obviously, a lot of people, when they're joined, it's their first job. So there's like a lot of growth in that anyway. But do you think having to kind of go through that experience gives you kind of more skills than you would have otherwise? You feel like a lot more confident when you started?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of transferable skills. There's a lot of things that, like, I would say I'm generally quite an anxious person. I'm quite introverted. I don't know if you'd agree, but I think I'm quite introverted.
I think when you meet you, you may not think
Come across that
that, but when you get to know you, I'm like, oh, you're interesting.
She's shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm generally quite an introverted, shy, not as confident person. And honestly, the whole faking it till you make it, you kind of have to jump into a different body or different mindset. And I think that has given me a lot of transferable skills. I would never really do public speaking actively. Whereas with the job, we did things like a sphere, where, no, what was that called? That was sphere.
Yeah. So yeah, insert picture. Maybe.
Insert picture of me speaking. Yeah, we had to do talks at sphere. You're jumping on calls in big conference rooms. You're doing demos in person with people that are very high up in the companies, stakeholders. So things like that, I would have never have had the confidence to walk into a room and speak in a confident way. I just would have been probably a bit more subdued, questioning myself slightly. So communication, definitely. And confidence, that just grows with the job. But I think I've learned to back myself a bit more, stop second guessing yourself. I've done this for long enough to know what I'm talking about. So instead of backing down, I guess kind of sticking up for myself a bit more. And I mean that across my life as well as just work as well. I think I've got a lot of transferable skills.
Yeah. And I guess we were having this discussion earlier about calling some of these things like soft skills.
Yeah.
And yeah, how maybe they're as important as what you'd say are hard skills. So
yeah, so yeah, we were having the discussion about how, I guess, the technical aspects or the technical skills that you would typically associate with the job are stereotypically more geared towards men, analytical, things like that. And then the women kind of get branded with the soft skills, so the communication, the I guess the ability to, even things like demos, you have to design the demo environment, even things like that, I guess would be geared more towards, we've got a creative eye or things like that. But they're not soft skills, they're as important as the technical side. across the company, you can be as technical as you want, but if you have to jump on a demo, it's the communication that makes the sale. The product speaks for itself. It's how you target it and how you sell it and how you brand it and how you, I guess, display the product. So in my eyes, they're not really soft skills. In this context, they're as important as the technical aspect.
Yeah, and I mean, for sure, in like tech sales, especially at other companies where some of those people may not have such good technical skills as all of our people who work in sales. As you said, like it is the interpersonal skills. And I think that's probably also true in consultancy, because when I was a technical account manager, so much of it was about kind of managing them emotionally. Like
Yeah,
everybody can do the work, but it's like, how can you kind of convince them that they're happy? Like this work is making them happy. Because I think that plays a huge role into how satisfied they are, rather than the actual work that you're giving them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like you say, everyone can kind of do the technical stuff. That's how everyone's gone through the same process. Everyone is probably on the same technical level, but it's how you communicate that and how you can communicate with the customer and also understand what they want. Because I think a lot of the time, I kind of realize this in consultancy, they know how they've previously had a system. They know what they want, but they don't know necessarily how to get from A to B. So it's kind of working with them and knowing how to communicate and make them comfortable and guide them through the process so that instead of doing an exact replica of what they want, you can say, well, actually, we can make this better. Or I know that this is the road you want to go down, but here's this and this that might help. So it's not just copying and pasting what they want. It's learning how to communicate with them and kind of pull out the pain points. And like you say, even with technical account management or CSM, it's communication. I would say majority of the job is being a good communicator rather than everyone can be technical or everyone at the company is on a similar level. So I think it's good communicator or being a good communicator gets you the furthest in the company.
I think it's some of like interesting some of the language you use there, saying like, I understand. And that's like, I think one of the most important things, that whether or not a system is good, like, some systems, it could be similar, but the thing that makes the difference is the customer feeling heard. And that's the same like in life.
Mm.
Like somebody can talk to you, and if they don't feel heard, even if you have the same conversation, they're not going to be happy. And that's
Yeah.
like the kind of key thing that I think sometimes women have like a bigger advantage on doing that, because they're kind of socialized to do that. And I think that's what makes it can make women really good at those jobs. And that's called a soft skill, but it is probably the thing that matters most in satisfaction.
Yeah, 100%. I think even like the other day, I was on a call with someone I was doing a proof of concept, and they were walking through how they currently do things and how it's adding on hours and hours to the week and how it's genuinely stressing them out and impacting their mental health, I guess. Um, and I felt like I just needed to sit and listen and give solutions, which I think is kind of what women are geared up to do in society. Like, so I think it does apply there. They don't necessarily want facts at that point. I can say, okay, well, I completely understand that's really frustrating. Here's how we can make that better. So I think it's handling the situation as well, like you say.
So one of the things you touched upon earlier was how kind of back in the day you were kind of thrown into things. And so I think it might be good just to kind of talk a bit about the process now for any prospective grads or people who are worried that they're going to have no help.
Yeah, that won't be the case now. We have a full program, I guess, dedicated people supporting that, and you will go through a full training process. You'll be down in with our support teams around people that have been at the company for a year, 2 years, and so on. So you'll go through the full training, dedicated sessions, and you will then you'll then shadow someone essentially. So instead of just going straight into a role and us saying, right, here are 10 clients, work it out, you will be paired up with someone. So, for example, when I mentored 3 or 4 people when they first joined, they just shadow your calls. They will start doing a few bits. So whether that's in consultancy, configuration, so they'll start building stuff with you, they'll start joining your calls. It's kind of more of a slow transition. They use the technical skills that they've built up during the training, but then it's kind of weaving in the interpersonal skills. So how do you handle a project? How do you structure the sessions? How do you communicate your points? And I think that's the biggest part rather than the technical knowledge. It's people come up upstairs. We say upstairs because that's where the consultants sit, but they come upstairs.
Yeah, it's not a metaphor.
No, it's not a metaphor. They graduate. They come upstairs and their most of their questions are, okay, well, how does this project go from start to finish? How do I structure these sessions? How do I make sure that they give me X, Y, and Z? How do I make sure they have all the requirements? And it's more watching that process that is really valuable. But yeah, you do get a mentor and you do shadow someone, and then you'll eventually start being given your own projects. So it's not as much of, here's some clients. Here you go.
And how has that been? Because I know you've now had the opportunity to mentor other women in that capacity. So how has it felt doing that, knowing kind of the exact challenges they're going to face?
Yeah, I was quite lucky with, I'm going to name drop Hannah. Shout out to Hannah. I mentored Hannah. I think she was the only girl I mentored. Yeah, I mentored Hannah, and Hannah and I are quite similar, and I kind of understood why she was getting stressed about certain things, or why she may be questioning her points, I guess, or questioning her response to things, because I've gone through that exact same process. And I think a lot of the thoughts that go around your head are, gosh, I'm young and I'm a girl and I'm surrounded by all these men that keep questioning me, and I know what I'm saying, but do I back myself enough? And I think I knew what she was thinking. I could kind of see the cogs turning. So having someone that has been through a similar process and understands where you're coming from and probably thought the same things is very helpful, because I kind of knew when to jump in and when to leave it as well, because there's the tendency that if she's doing a call and I was shadowing, or I was watching her do the call and she was getting a bit flustered, I would want to jump in and kind of help. But I think I knew when to step back, because from experience, I knew when you kind of just need to push on and when it does actually require support. Whereas I don't know if it's like a man would be more inclined to jump in earlier on. If that makes sense.
I guess if you haven't, because obviously some men could be similar and get flustered too, but it's about knowing that experience and knowing kind of reading that.
Yeah, obviously everyone gets flustered, everyone questions their decisions. It's not a unique experience to women in the company, but it's more knowing when they're in a room or they're joining a call and there's a room of men that are questioning the decision. Obviously, equally, a man could get upset that's just come in or question their decision. But I think I can relate to Hannah. I can relate to that from a similar perspective, I think, is the main point. Everyone's going to get flustered at some point.
And I guess kind of leading on to that, what sort of things do you think we can personally do? So one of the things I've kind of noted throughout this conversation is it's probably because we're young, it's quite common to refer to the women as girls and to the boys as men. We very rarely actually call them boys. And so we'll say men and girls. And these are the two things we're like juxtaposing.
Yeah.
And like, that's probably not helping.
No, 100%. I mean, I think I said girl because Hannah is tiny.
But it's natural. Most people do say that.
She's got size 3 feet. I love you, Hannah. Big love.
I do love Hannah.
We love Hannah. No, yeah, it is. I don't know why. I noticed I kept saying girls as well.
But so I guess one thing is just to kind of, it's obviously not our fault.
No.
And a lot of it's industry-wide rather than internally. But it's interesting to think, like, what things do we have agency to put in place? Because unfortunately we have to be part of the solution in changing it. It's not just gonna change.
Yeah, I think it's being more mindful with how you word or approach certain situations. So I could, for example, make a conscious effort not to keep saying girls. But I think I wasn't even really that aware of
No,
it until you mentioned it. So I think a lot of it is potentially on all of us as a community within,
absolutely.
I mean, generally, but also within the company to maybe in a nice way call each other out on these things. So like you just said, oh, you keep saying girls.
Actually, I shouldn't apologise.
Don't apologise.
Oh!
Oh God. Yeah, and even things that we've started doing, so the buddy system, mentoring, the Women in Tech event, I think it's making a conscious effort to do what we can to shed light on our experiences and potentially people that have wider knowledge. So Sheridan, for example, who's going to be speaking at the event.
Yeah. I was going to say that is a great segue.
Thank
Do you want
you.
to
I'm
tell
trained.
us? Me too, trained. Do you want to tell us a bit about the event?
Yeah, so on the 16th of October from 3 to 7 in Halo House, if anyone wants to join. We are doing a Women in Tech event, so that will include a keynote or an hour speaker session from Sheridan Ash, who we will talk a bit more about later on. But she will be speaking, and then we will have a panel essentially of some people from Halo as well as Sheridan, where Rosa will be leading the panel, so asking questions, hopefully getting people engaged from the audience or people that are coming to watch to ask any questions that they may have either about our experience or potentially the industry. Sheridan's obviously very experienced, so yeah, and then it's just a bit of networking, I guess, a chance for people to share stories, share experiences, people that are potentially looking for a career in tech. It's not just open to girls, so men and women can join. But yeah, just a chance for everyone to network, ask questions, and listen to Sheridan, who's got a lot of good stories.
Yeah, and we'll have quite a few people from Halo around as well. So if
Yeah.
anybody wants to talk to them as well, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, so we'll have the talk from Sheridan, we'll have the panel, and then hopefully time at the end for we've got a few Halo people that will be around, more kind of like little breakout, not rooms, but breakout zones with different people from Halo around. So if people did want to just speak one-on-one or have more specific questions, then yeah, it's just a chance for everyone to chat.
Nice. And so it's very exciting that we've got Sheridan. Do you want to talk a little bit about her and kind of maybe why we chose her as a keynote speaker?
Yeah, so I have got a few notes, just going to reference those. But Sheridan was awarded the most influential woman in UK technology in 2024, as well as the Tech UK President Award in 2023. And she's also got an MBE for her services to young girls, young women through technology. So she has also started, she's a co-founder and co-CEO of Tech She Can, which is a charity essentially to help educate children and women and just young people in general about their future careers in technology. And a really cool fact is that she doubled the number of women in tech roles at PwC.
Oh,
so very
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I know she's worked for people like L'Oreal. So big brands, big names. Very, very cool.
But you've spoken to her on some calls, so I guess you're quite excited because you actually know what's to come.
Yeah. So Amy and I have spoken to her, and she's really cool. She's really nice. We obviously knew her background and her experience. Generally, we'd watched a few of her talks and her videos, but just speaking to her one-on-one, we were both quite inspired, or like re-inspired, I guess. So I'm excited for other people to hear what she has to say.
Nice. Yeah, it should be a really good event. And so there will be a link in the description, Nina? We'll put a link in the
We'll put
description.
a link somewhere.
Yeah.
Please sign up.
Do that.
There'll be free food.
Yes. As all good events have.
As all good events have.
Yeah.
And we'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll get to speak to us again.
That'd be so exciting.
Um,
So I think a good thing to touch upon, potentially for any women out there who are thinking about applying, or just people who are interested generally, what is it like to be a woman at Halo?
I think it's quite fun.
Yeah.
We're quite, I would say, quite a tight-knit community because there are fewer of us.
Mm.
We tend to support each other a lot. We back each other a lot. We go through similar experiences, and I think it does give you a tighter community. Um, Having said that, we obviously are all friendly with everyone in the company. We don't just sit in a group at lunch of girls. But yeah, it's nice having that kind of support. And I think we all it's empowering having a group of people around you that go through the same thing and will back you as well. So I think just being, I guess, a positive of this is that you can get really empowered from this experience, or you can become more empowered just from being around people that are going through similar things that will support you, as well as I find it quite satisfying in terms of you exceed people's expectations, right? You jump on a call, they probably don't expect you, if they do have these biases, unconscious, subconscious, not
People now use them interchangeably, so
yeah,
you can use
gosh,
both, but
well,
technically it's subconscious.
yeah, subconscious. Yeah, you jump on a call, there's maybe some subconscious bias there. They're probably like, oh, she is not going to solve my problems.
Yeah.
And I personally find it quite satisfying when I can answer all the questions and also provide more or provide further solutions or a different way of thinking. So I think there is there is a lot of opportunity to actually feel really empowered in a situation where you might initially feel quite small.
I think as well with sort of external people who, and yeah, as you said, it's subconscious. Like I don't think anyone out there is
No,
deliberately
yeah.
thinking any less of you, deliberately. But I think what's quite nice is you can kind of tell, and sometimes you don't know whether it's your age, your experience, or your gender, or your assumed experience, I guess, because of your age or gender. You can kind of see the switch when you're just like you've kind of told them everything they need to know. You can answer every question, and you can see that they've changed around, and they're like, oh, okay, this person, I am in safe hands. I think personally, like when I've noticed that they've clocked that, I'm like, great, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's when they start trusting your decisions. So I guess more so in consultancy, I found this. Initially, people maybe, I mean, this would probably be across the board, just if they deem a younger person as less experienced, obviously not on purpose, but that does come with it. They've probably been in the industry for longer. So then I come in giving solutions or ideas that Halo's a new innovative product. So if we come in with new innovative solutions and a different way of thinking, they're potentially a bit skeptical. But I think you can notice when they start backing you and trusting you, because I could say, okay, well, this is how you're used to doing it. Why don't we try this? And whereas before they'd be maybe a bit like, oh, not sure about that. Let's stick to what we know. Now they're on board with trying new things. They're like, yeah, we'll trust you, whatever you think. You're the expert. And that is rewarding, because not our job isn't just about recreating what they're currently doing or recreating old processes. Part of it is streamlining it, making it better, faster, more efficient. So it is rewarding when you can see the switch. They're like, okay, yeah, do whatever you want. You know what you're talking about.
yeah, and you can see that in the good feedback as well. It's like across the board for everybody. That does come in, and we all get to see it, which is nice. And you can see like how people trust their consultants or whoever they're working with in sales as well.
Yeah, it's rare that, I mean, everyone gets really good feedback because everybody's so good at Halo and they know Halo so well because of how we structure the process, that we know which processes could be improved with all of the functionality that Halo has. So it is rewarding and it is empowering seeing that switch where people may initially question you, whether that's gender, age, whatever it may be. So that is very empowering.
And kind of going back to the kind of community that we have, what I found is as more and more people join, you do get to the point where it's hard to keep track of the new people. And so when you have all of the women, you kind of do, it is even tighter because there are so many people coming in. You might just know the new women because you play netball or you do
Yeah.
whatever, or there's an event, which is quite nice. And I think the thing I quite enjoy is, I guess, seeing them develop and things that I can help them with, which I've had in turn from other people. And it's just kind of like that two-way balance of like
Transferring knowledge.
yeah, and transferring, like when you can see somebody's down, like picking them up because you know where they are in their journey. And I guess that's something you probably had with mentoring Hannah and things like that. But
Yeah, I think it's, you know, when the self-doubt starts to creep in, or you know how much one comment that may have been said with no malice or bad intention at all, I could probably, or you could probably see how that may be interpreted by someone who's younger and just joined. So I think it's having that tight community, knowing when someone's probably a bit down because of something that somebody else might not pick up on if they didn't have the same experience, is, yeah, it's a good group.
yeah.
And we all back each other.
Yeah. So thanks for being on the pod.
Thanks for having me.
We will be doing a series of podcasts for Women in Tech Week. And of course, we've got events. If you want to see Izzie in person, hear her talk, please do sign up. The link below. Thanks for watching this episode of the Halo Aid podcast. If you like what you see, you can follow for more. And if you're interested in being a guest, you can email us at podcast@imaginatehalo.com.